There's a lot of camping gear I've packed over the years, but this stuff in these two bins are the gear that's stuck around. Nothing flashy, but it's all things I wouldn't leave home without, and every piece of gear in these two bins is under $25.
It's about gear that solves problems, gear that keeps you camping longer, safer, and more comfortably. I always bring a small backpacking stove and a fuel canister. It's tiny, takes up almost no space, but it saved dinner and kept us warm more than once. Sometimes we just need a third burner, or a way to keep food warm while everything else finishes up. It's not fancy, it's functional.
Now, I still use my 2-burner stove and that plow disc cooker over there for about 95% of the meals. This is peace of mind, really affordable, really small. And when that propane runs out on those cold weather trips, so does our way of warming our bodies.
I bulk buy headlamps when they go on sale at Costco or Sam's, usually 4 for $10.
These batteries have been in here for, I don't know, at least 3 years. I mean, they're pretty corroded. Probably shouldn't be doing this. They're probably not going to work when I put it back in. Yep. Yeah, it's not working. Look at that.
I throw 2 of these back here inside dock, 1 in the tow vehicle, on the tongue platform. When I have my boxes on here, obviously, I throw it in this drawer. I mean, these are everywhere, so nobody's fighting for lights, nobody's walking around in the dark. I tend to get caught up on the USB charging.
And I don't care if they're rechargeable. We barely use them. They're for specific moments at camp. If you really want to preserve those batteries, I'd just keep them in a plastic bag and attach that to the flashlight.
Now, as much as I love these budget headlamps, they have a purpose because they're everywhere. Our family chooses this little guy to be on us full time. So every one of us have one of these mounted to our hats. It's kind of hard because this is a thick hat. They're very small, obviously, but this is the beauty. Look how bright these headlamps are. So they're with us everywhere we go when we're recreating or when we throw a hat on. And then when we don't have these, obviously, we can find a headlamp sitting anywhere.
They're ridiculously bright, USB-C rechargeable, super small. The only downside because of its small size and bright light is the short battery life. But they charge really quickly off a power bank and you're right back out there.
I can smell that rain coming in. Means I probably need to put up the awning. Our family can get a little carried away, so over the years, we've realized for us, it's just tweezers and a good amount of butterfly stitches. For the 2 boys, of course, and myself.
And that time where I got bit by a snake.
Oh no!
I used to build my own first aid kits for cost savings. Still do sometimes, just for the customization. But these days, you can buy a decent kit online for about the same price you can put one together on your own. I also add a splint and a tourniquet. Not trying to be dramatic here, just being realistic about what would be needed to help if something would go wrong.
Can't wait for May to get here. That is a good one. She's so good at digging these out. Got it. Me and my soft hands.
A simple tablecloth and a few metal hold downs turns a public table into something you actually want to eat on. Avoiding one section of the table like we often did isn't worth it.
Now, like many things on the channel, there's always a drawback. So I take out these plastic, crinkly, cheaper tablecloths, and the nostalgia factor of bringing a regular one from home is great, but that means somewhere along the trip you're going to have to stop at a laundromat to clean that. This lets you field clean it as you go and just keeps you on the road, keeps you going forward. I love that sound. As you probably noticed, the rain has arrived.
There are mini oven mitts that almost seem like they were made just for camping. We typically carry a cloth pair, but they make silicone versions as well. They're great for cooking over the fire, handling cast iron, and just for handling pots and pans over your gas stove.
We use them a lot, and as you can see, if you utilize these, they're gonna protect your hands. On a similar note, I always carry 2 sets of gloves. One set for basic camp tasks, gathering kindling, cutting wood, hitching up the trailer, and then a second pair for anything fire related, soot related.
I used to store these in the tow vehicle or in the trailer, but I find where I need them most is near the tongue.
So I typically have something up on here in the tongue so I can carry these. Right now I'm experimenting or playing with the idea of doing something new up here, so I've been carrying everything in the back of the truck and on the rear receiver.
If you hook up that trailer without gloves before heading off, you'll spend the next portion of your drive wishing you put on those gloves. One pair gets dirty, the other gets hot and black, and your hands stay a lot happier either way.
If you saw our flat pack video, you know I also keep a pair of these gloves in every one of our fire pit bags. These gloves are affordable. If you get them at like Costco or Sam's, you get real leather gloves in a multi-pack. What I like most about them is they're keeping that dirt on the gloves. They're not making their way into my trailer, into my tow vehicle, or onto my pants. The next items are collapsible buckets. The kids end up using these for play half the time, but when they're not playing with them, they fold up nice and flat, and they can be used for about everything.
These things do it all. We use them for hauling water, washing dishes, catching gray water, even collecting trash. We don't use the solar shower like most people do. For us, it's more about heating water.
After I get this all hot, then I just pair it with a sponge, and this just makes the water go a lot further. And I feel quite a bit cleaner as well too with this method. I've also tried all the body sponges like this on Amazon. They really don't hold water well, so we just use a typical sponge for the house, like a household cleaning sponge. It holds much better.
Also, sponges give you good exfoliation, which is just a fancy way of saying you're no longer wearing a thin layer of yesterday's campfire grime.
And yes, if you think that's gross to share this with your family, you're right. Each one of you needs a sponge with your name on it. These little guys, they're wireless, they're portable. You can use them as a backup power station. They're all light. We use them everywhere. Now, while I think these are useful, I typically only use it to dig a cat hole. I like the ability to hide things in the end of some of these shovels and the ability to cut and work on kindling, but this is a bit overkill for my needs. Even the setup is a little longer than I would like. So I'm gonna try this little guy this year. Digging a cat hole, the ground is usually pretty soft. This not only sets up faster, it folds down much slimmer. I'll try it throughout the season, and if it works, I'll let you know. This saw couldn't cut anything to save its life. You'd have to get a real one, not something from Walmart.
I usually bring more advanced filters like a Steri-Pen, Lifesaver jerry can, or a pump-style water filter. I've never owned a Life Straw or a Sawyer filter, but for the price and the size and all the positive reviews, seems like they might be a good option for those of you who don't own a filter. Basically a nice little item for your emergency kit if you aren't already using some other form of filtration.
Now, I'm not saying this is the best. I'm just saying it's a great place to start. At 10 bucks, it has enough filtration to filter out everything you're going to find in a gin clear stream. If you want intense, smaller microns of filtration to, drink out of a muddy puddle with feces in it, Sawyer is about double the filtration rate of this. And then some of you are going to say, well, this isn't very practical. You got to drink out of it. But remember, you can bring that water back from the stream and drink out of it that way. Or you can up your game and get something that filters a bottle, or like I mentioned, jerry cans or other filters as well. Filters are light, they're compact, and what I like best about them, besides they're mostly human powered, is that they can keep you out for a few days longer without forcing you to go back to town to get fresh water. Now, I must admit, this next item, when I first picked it up, I picked it up just for the flat packing ability, but I didn't understand how nice this was. I just didn't get it. And over time, I started working out here and doing, video editing out here in the woods, and I realized quickly all my chairs were not the right height ergonomically to meet the tables out here or to work inside this teardrop. And the camp chairs, as comfy as they are, when you're doing proper work on them, they just don't give you the support you need. And that's when I quickly saw the value of this guy. This is one chair that fits the height of every table. Maybe not this table. This is pretty high. It's kind of close. These are not the things I brag about, but quietly, they just make camp better. And I'm pretty sure I have a whole list of items under $10 for the campsite that do the same thing, like improve all this as well, if that's something you ever want to see.
And if you haven't seen my flat pack video yet, this video right here will show you how I fit all my camping gear into 2 small boxes like this. I'll also link it down below.